Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Webinar Wednesday. I'm Carol Ashburn, the Director of Marketing here at Prophecy, and I'm so happy to have you with us. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to spend some time with us. Just a quick housekeeping item. Be sure to stick with us until the end of the webinar when we'll share some details about how you can enter to win an iPad mini. Today, we've got a great presentation for you covering 5 things we think every trucking company needs to know as we head into 2015. We'll offer some updates on key industry regulations and also pass along some tips and solutions to help you improve in areas like driver retention, cost savings on things you already purchased, and overall efficiency for your operation. Jay Vatsakis, our Senior Sales Manager, will be our presenter today. Jay's been with Prophecy for 11 years now, and he's worked with thousands of trucking companies during that time. And prior to that, he worked as a dispatcher himself, so he can really relate to the intricacies of how trucking works and ways to save time and work smarter. Well, we've got a lot of great information to share, so without further ado, I'd like to turn things over to Jay.
Thanks, Carol. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We put together 5 interesting updates that we thought you'd be interested in. Trucking's in a really good position right now. Fuel is down and demand is up, so we came up with these 5 items that we thought we'd share. We did a lot of research to get some good information for you. So the 5 things we're going to go over today are the recent change in the hours of service regulations, which just seems to be an ongoing thing over the years. Some strategies or some ideas we put together to retain quality drivers, an ongoing issue as well for most people. The status of the ELD or the EOBR, formerly known as that, mandate, where you can find some discounts on things you already buy in the trucking world, and how to eliminate some manual processes and become more efficient in doing your dispatch operations. And towards the end of this presentation, we're going to do a short presentation on our dispatching software for those who are interested. So essentially, the hours of service rules have changed. They repealed back to the 2013 rules until they do some investigating. They suspended 2 major rules, as you can read there on the screen. Basically, the requirement that drivers must log 2 consecutive periods of off-duty or sleeper berth time has been suspended. And then the next one, as you can see there, waiting 168 hours to restart. So these are a good thing for now until they figure out what they're going to do with these rules. And right now, Prophecy does have a solution that audits these rules, and we change them as needed, as you might expect. A little more information on what the FMCSA will be doing is they're going to go through basically and compare the last 2 sets of rules. They're going to get a large pool of carriers, small and large, and get some data that's going to assess the driver fatigue, alertness, health outcomes, and any kind of safety issues. Once they start this, they have 210 days to complete this, at which point they'll ultimately make a decision on what set of rules to be using. Second item for today, going over some strategies or some ideas in retaining drivers. This is always an ongoing thing in the trucking world, but some of the obvious ones, like in any company, really, the appreciation and respect. I think anyone appreciates that. Money, obviously, and pay is an obvious incentive, but some other more creative things that we came up with through some of the research and talking to different people. You can read through these. A Driver of the Month award, something along those lines, some special recognition for a particular driver. An easy way for the driver to report maintenance issues, make it really seamless and easy for them to do. Create a family environment. A lot of people would appreciate that, a lot of drivers, especially when they're on the road and they have people they can talk to like a family. Establish driver audiobook and music libraries. Welcome home trips, cookouts, luncheons, that sort of thing. And create a pleasant work environment, especially when the guys are on the road, if they have a good work environment. They appreciate that. What is the mandate for the ELD or the EOBR, as it was formerly known? Electronic logging devices. Under the new mandate, it will synchronize with the engine and automatically capture the engine statistics, basically, as you can see there. The recording location information will require an automated entry at each change of duty status at 60-minute intervals. The device must be able to utilize one of the following communication methods of data transfer: web, wireless web, Bluetooth, email, or printouts. And it must be tamper-proof. A little more information on that. The formerly it was referred to as ELBR, like I've indicated. They now use the term the ELD, or the electronic logging device. It's going to be required for anyone who currently has paper logs. All vendors for ELDs are be required to have their products certified. So this has been an ongoing thing for the last few years, the kind of a timeline of these ELBRs or ELDs back in 2010. It started the ruling, and then they changed it in March 2014. And just most recently in October, they've asked the vendors of the ELDs to get compliant. Expecting to have some kind of ruling later this year in September, and then approximately 2 years after that, it'll become mandatory. How do you get, we talked about discounts in the beginning just briefly. How do you get discounts on some of the things you already buy? Well, Truckers B2B, who we've been a long-time partner with, the things you're buying now, you can join them for free, and they offer discounts or rebates on anything you might need in your trucking world. They started as a small co-op for trucking companies, and it's just grown over time, and they're a great organization to deal with. You can sign up for free. You can go online and sign up for free. How will the TMS solution help you? So rather than talk too much about this, what we're going to do in a minute here is just kind of show you a demonstration, and you can click through it as you wish. But you can become more streamlined with the right software, the right TMS, or otherwise known as dispatch software. Less paperwork to handle. You don't necessarily need as many people to do more activity, so you're not going to have to hire staff necessarily where you can use the right software to manage it much more efficiently. So I'll go ahead and start the demonstration of our dispatch software right now, and we'll have some questions and answers after that. Where I'd like to begin is up in the top left-hand corner under the word maintain, where there's some basic setup that needs to take place. Like any system, it needs to be set up properly in order to function properly, specific to your operation. First thing I'm going to go into is drivers. As a general rule in our system, the green fields are required, the white fields are optional. So you'll see here there's very few that are required, and that holds true throughout the entire system. We make it very flexible for you. Driver's personal information along the top. The driver's CDL is up in the top right-hand corner, and the system will warn you when that's going to expire. In the middle section is where you'll set up and define how a driver is to be paid. In this case, it's a payroll driver. He gets paid something I've called 35 cents loaded and 35 cents empty. So basically, this driver is getting 35 cents on all miles, and this is a list of rate schedules that you can create. You can create anything you want, attach it to the driver, and it'll auto-calculate the pay. Over here on the left-hand side where it says expirations, it's going to track any of these other expirations as well, and provide you with warnings as well. Right-hand side where it says document imaging, you have the ability to scan, in this case, scan in or attach documents or records to a driver, in this case, driver named Adams. I've scanned in a driver application form as an example, but you can put any qualification forms in here, photographs, CDLs, anything at all, and it'll be attached to the driver within the system. The next thing going down my list, you won't necessarily set up all this stuff. It's very specific to what you need. Tractors. All you technically need here is a number, a unit ID number in the top left-hand corner. You'll see a lot of other information, but it's not required. That'll be up to you. There's also an imaging tab here if you wanted to attach or scan documents that relate to this tractor unit. Trailers, same type of thing. All you need is a number. Everything else is optional. And there's an imaging button here as well if you wanted to track that or scan documents into that. Customer, shipper, consignee locations. Any place that you'll pick up at, deliver to, or invoice. The three primary components that are going to make up your load ultimately, which we'll see in a few minutes. Again, green fields are required. There's a lot of information you can track in here. Once you set up these IDs and these locations one time, they're going to be set up forever, so you don't need to recreate them each and every time. And you can also create these on the fly when you're building a load, so you don't have to have everything set up ahead of time. The next thing I'm going to do is go into my dispatch board, one of two different dispatch boards. I'll do an overview first, and I'll go back through and create a load and bring it through the whole process. I am on pending loads right now. pending loads in my system or loads that you're doing. They're set up, just not assigned to any drivers yet. And you can see in my case they're yellow, but you can choose your own color. As I scroll over to the right, there are all sorts of fields you can use. What you can do by user, each person in your company that logs into the system can customize their own view. Pick the columns you want, pick the ones you don't want. The ones you don't want, you pull off to the left. It'll reset your board. It'll remember the settings by user ID. So every time you log in, it'll have your settings the way you left them, have the columns where you left them, and have whichever columns you want to appear on there, just like you left it. And every person, again, can do it differently. It is user definable. The assign board simply means this load has been assigned to a driver. Again, a whole other series of columns that you can customize what you see. Different color coding as well. The en route board means the driver has picked up. If you do this in your operation, if you mark them loaded, you can mark them loaded in here. It'll appear as an en route load. And again, another series of columns. You can choose what you see. The active load board gives you the opportunity to see all three of those categories at one time, what we consider active. You can also sort any column you want. And this holds true pretty much throughout the entire system. Depends what you want to see and how you want to see it. The completed board means the load has been delivered. Not necessarily billed, but delivered. We have a frequent load board. So if you do repetitive type work, whether it's once in a while you do the same load or you do it every day or 10 times a day, you can come in here and copy those loads. So you don't have to recreate the same data over and over and over. You can split your board, top left-hand corner. This basically gives you the opportunity to see two boards at once. You can resize them. And you can show any category in top, any category in the bottom. Completely up to you and what you want to see. The second dispatch board I want to get into, we call a load scheduler. And it's all the same information. It just looks different, totally different. Over here on the left-hand side is our pending loads now. Again, they're not in a yellow grid, they're in a list. As I float my mouse around over here, you see a little bit more information about each load. In the middle is all my drivers, and in the far right is a list of what they're doing, or a grid of what they're doing basically for the week. Now this week timeline can be set up however you want. You can do 1 day, 1 hour timeline for more local type of work. You can do 3 days, you can do 1 week, 1 month, whatever works for what you need to see at that moment. Starting on the top, you can see driver name Adams here has a big red X under the L. That's telling me his license has expired. Big red bar going across as well. Just one of the ways that we warned. The next driver down, Bass. He's on a load in green, which means he's currently on his way to Dallas, supposed to be there at 12:30 today. After that, he's pre-assigned on his next load, according to the schedule that is set up. He's supposed to pick up in Dallas and go back down to Houston, so he's booked out through tomorrow. If that works for you, then you're happy. Next driver down, same type of thing. He's on a load on his way to Stafford, Texas for 12:30, and then he's pre-assigned on his next load already. Supposed to be in West Laco tomorrow morning. Jumping down here to driver Brown. He's on a load on his way to San Antonio for 3 o'clock today. After that, he's got nothing assigned. So if I go over to the left and click on a load that originates here in San Antonio, looks like it's going to Chicago, it's also telling me he will be 0 miles away from that load. So we have a proximity column. Whenever you click on an origin, it gives you the proximity in miles each of your drivers will be from that load. You can see it changing. You can sort by that column as well if there's any value there. So let's take this load, San Antonio to Chicago. I'm going to go ahead and assign it to that driver. Get him pre-assigned on that. Click on it, drag it over his name, drop it, click yes. It's going to go ahead now. It's going to fill in my grid. He's now pre-assigned on his next load from San Antonio to Chicago for a couple days out. This driver's on a load from Jacksonville to Hartford for a while. This driver down here is on vacation, so you can schedule time off so you can know you don't assign drivers. This driver up here has a license coming due, so it's yellow, and you can see where the grid begins to turn yellow over here. It's coming due. It's not even expiring until May. Moving along. Let's go ahead and set up a load now. Bring it through the whole process. Book new, top left-hand corner. I'm going to choose a customer from my pull-down menu here. And I start typing. It does an auto search. The more you type, the closer it gets to what you're looking for. I'm going to click that in there, and that's going to be the person that will be getting the bill for this load. First location ID by default will be my pickup, my P, because you can't deliver something until you pick it up. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the same type of thing here. It does an auto search. I'm going to choose the same location as the shipping location, even though it does not have to be. And it fills in all the information from the database. There's several columns to the right here that you can also use, and you can also move these around. If you just want to use a zip code or a city and state combination, you can do that. If you put a zip code in here, the system will auto-populate city and state for you. If you just realize you're picking up or delivering to a brand new location, you can come over here, hit new location, add it. It'll be in my database immediately, at which point you can come to your pull down here and choose your company. So we'll say this load's going from Chicago to Hartford. I'm going to go ahead and put some dates in here. You can certainly type. Or you can double click. Any date field can be double clicked. We'll say it's going to deliver Monday morning at 10 a.m. 3 a.m. In the middle section, totally optional. You can leave it blank if you wish, but let's go ahead and add some commodity or some goods in there. You can make this list yourself, so whatever it is that you haul, and if you want to track it, you can create your own list. I'll keep mine relatively generic. Top middle, I will hit the rate button now, and depending how your rates are set up, and they can be all across the board, we can do per mile, flat, per ton, per hundred, per unit of any kind, per piece, per pallet. You can automate them, or you can manually type them in on every load. There's a lot we can do with that. I'm going to click the rate button, and again, based on how you've set it up, I have what I call a flat contracted rate. The descriptions are also user-defined. The miles will auto-populate. We have our mileage software working in the background. Flat rate of a predetermined flat rate of $2,200, and I'm running a 49-cent per mile fuel surcharge for this customer this week. Fuel surcharges can be percentage per mile per anything you want, actually. We can auto-download from the Department of Energy's website each month. That will auto-adjust each week, I should say, or any period you want, really. It'll auto-adjust the customer's rate schedules, how you set them up, if you'd like to do that as well. You can also add any kind of accessorials. You can create whatever you want in this little list. Basically anything you can think of, either add now or later. So we'll just leave it at that. I'm going to click Save Load. It's going to auto-assign a load number. On the top there, 12462. If you need any other customer-specific numbers, you can type them in under the PO field or the shipper reference field, and these are also searchable fields. Okay, let's close it down, and it's going to show you where it ends up here on the pending load board. There's my load I just created, 12462. It's ready to be assigned to a driver. So I will assign from this screen rather than the load scheduler, since we already did that. I'm just going to right-click. When in doubt, right-click in our system. Assign. You get a very similar screen as you did in the load scheduler as far as any kind of conflicts, scheduling, DOT, stuff like that. Over here in the far left, there's a column for T for type of driver. You could have payroll drivers, could have owner-operators. You may have one or the other or both. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose this driver here. He's about 100 miles away in Milwaukee, Drew. Double-click his name. It brought in the pre-assigned equipment I had with him up in the top left-hand corner. You don't need to pre-assign equipment, but you can if you want to. I'm going to go ahead and click the pay button now, and depending on how you set up your drivers to be paid, it's going to auto-calculate their pay at this point. This particular driver is an owner or operator, so he's getting 80% of the line haul revenue, and he's getting 100% of the fuel surcharge. Again, just like the billing side, driver's pay side can be set up however you want. There's a lot we can do with that as well. There on my assign board is that load now. Also, if I jump back to that load scheduler, you'll see on this view here, Drew is assigned that load, so you can see it filled in his timeline there. Wherever you do something in the system, it'll appear anywhere else you might need to see it. It's really just a matter of where you're comfortable working. If the driver calls in loaded, you can right-click, change the status of the load. The driver was assigned. He is now en route. So I'm just going to paste my current date and time. Click OK. There's the driver now on my en route board. You can see it 3:54 Eastern Time. Driver called me out of Chicago. There's the ETA. There's a schedule time, and there's where the driver's going. And again, the columns you see here will be up to you. If you want to log in daily check calls, if you're a long-haul company and your driver's on the road for a couple of days and you want to log in daily check calls, you can do that. It'll keep updating these columns here. Ultimately, the driver calls in empty. Right-click, change status. He was en route. Now he's going to be complete. I'm going to click OK. Just, again, verify date and time. I would like to put the timestamp of my current time in there. Click OK. There he's down on my completed board. This load is now empty. Now this driver went to Hartford. So one search we have built into the system here. At any point along the way, the load does not need to be completed. I'm going to right-click, search for backhauls. What it's going to do here, it's going to search my history based on the criteria you put in here. Now, it'll auto-populate some criteria that you can change. You can put whatever you want here, but I'm going to leave it the way it is. I'm asking my system to go ahead and search a 120-mile radius of Hartford. And go back 90 days, and you go back as long as you want. Show me any loads I've done out of that area. So my system brought back 23 records within a split second there. This is how far they would be from where the driver emptied up top there. This is a customer, which could be located somewhere else in the country. This is the contact and the phone and what they paid, where it picked up, where it delivered. You can sort these columns as well, who paid the most, whatever works for you. It's a quick resource to see what you've done, where, and how much you got paid. Okay, moving along to the billing, driver pay, and fuel taxes in no particular order. Go to billing first. Accounting, print and post freight bills. Here's the load we were just working on. Basically, paperwork comes in, do a little verification on the bottom. Are the charges accurate? If not, maybe you need to add something. Maybe you need to go ahead and add some detention or something. And whatever you want there, really. Just throwing some examples out there. So there's the charges that are accurate. Shipments and current invoice tab. If you didn't already do it, you can throw these numbers in there if you need to. Now, some of mine are already in there, but if you need to add more, you can add more. There's a billing notes field right here. This field is very large. It keeps going over. If everything looks good, you can print the invoice if you're ready to do that. Or you can come in here if you want to attach a proof of delivery or any kind of load-related document. You can come to the imaging screen. There's a load number. I'm going to scan in a bill of lading, but you can create your whatever image types you need. And it'll scan in, again, whatever it is that you want it to scan in. Once the document gets scanned in here, it'll be attached to that load number forever, at which point if you ever need to retrieve it down the road, you can come in here and print it or email it right out of this screen. It's very quick to retrieve, too. Okay, so there it is. The bill of lading attached to that load number. So I'm going to close that down. And I'm going to come over here to the audit column and check the audit box. That's telling me when I'm ready to finally print some invoices. That one's ready to go. So I might go through more and do the same type of thing, whatever verification process you decide on. And then I'm going to print them all. We have about 25 to 30 varieties of invoices in the system. This is just one of them. Your logo will appear in any document in the system. There's some numbers in the top right-hand corner. Pickups, deliveries, customer, of course. All the charges are itemized out already on there. You don't need to retype anything. So again, that's just one style invoice that we have in the system. You can obviously print these out, email it right from here, create a PDF document from here, or you can do a rendition bill from here. Basically, you can print out to the screen, to a PDF file, or to paper. You can print out the invoice attached to the supporting documentation. And if you print it to a PDF file, you could email it right from here as well. So I'm going to close that down. It's going to ask me if everything printed okay. I'll say yes. And then you're going to go to the top, and everything you just printed now, you're going to post. And by posting, it's going to clear this screen and be on its way to QuickBooks. QuickBooks AR. You can see 12462 is no longer on the screen. Driver pay and settlement. Accounting, settle, and post pay. So there's the load. There's the load we just did, 12462. You'll set a filter on here for a timeline more than likely. This driver Drew has another load on here. And he's got one there. So he's an owner operator. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to take out some miscellaneous deductions. You can create whatever you want. I had some stuff previously set up, so I'll just use some of this and show you how it works. So you might go through each driver. You're going to verify that the pay is calculated, which you'll see. If you can see in the middle there, it is. And it should be, depending on how you decide to do things. And then you can, again, do those deductions like I talked about. Select the whole list of all your drivers and print your settlement sheets off. Even though I'm doing an owner-operator, you can print settlement sheets off for the payroll guys as well. I'm just going to redo that. There's some different options you can show. There we go. So for driver Drew, this pay period, he did 2 loads, it looks like. He went from Atlanta to Milwaukee. And for that load, he got paid this much money based on however you set them up. You got 80% of the line haul, 100% of the fuel surcharge. This column here, which is your revenue, can be blocked. As you saw what I just did prior to this, there's certain options of things you can show and not show. Then he went from Chicago to Hartford. His pay for that load is right here, again, based on how you set it up. Below that, it says he took a $300 advance, probably on a fuel card. So that item already came in there, and he's an owner-operator, so we're taking that money back. Below that, he had a loan payment due for us. Took a loan for whatever reason. In this case, it looks like a truck loan. Again, these descriptions are whatever you make them. He's paid me 5 times. He has 5 left, balance of $500. And then another deduction of $75 for repairs. Again, whatever they need to be. Down the bottom, it'll total everything up and summarize it for them. $33.73.55 will be the total. You print these all off for all your drivers. Again, post. And they're going to remove themselves from the screen and be on their way to QuickBooks. Before we get to QuickBooks, I'll need to go to Accounting, run QuickBooks Export. You'll see little check boxes in there indicating some activity. It's going to hit Process. Process this one. And process this one. Open up QuickBooks. Go to my AR. Company we billed was Chicago, Illinois company, and they're in the current aging column. If I zoom in, you'll see 12462, which is the load we just built and processed. Total billing amount is over there to the right, $2698.55. I can zoom in here, and it does create an invoice in QuickBooks. Typically, it's not used as an invoice. It's used more of a reference tool because you will still receive cash in against this invoice in QuickBooks. But typically, you will print your invoice from Prophecy side. Now, we will also, if you want to, this is a setting, we can send AR information back to Prophecy to update whether or not a load has been paid. Your owner-operators get paid under vendor category. There's the driver we just sent over with his 2 loads. Shows he has 3 credits. Those are the deductions we took out. Fuel, loan, and insurance. I'm going to cut his check. And I'll just print to the screen here. So there, 3370.55 matches the bottom of that settlement sheet we just printed a few seconds ago. So you can take this and attach it to that. Driver's happy. Also, and we didn't just process any, but you can do payroll employees. Information will also interface to QuickBooks into the payroll module if you are doing payroll in QuickBooks. Going back to Prophecy and fuel taxes. Just going to post some information to the fuel tax module. I'm now in the fuel tax module, and here's all my tractor units. The one we were just dealing with was 1015, and underneath there is not the trip we just did. Oh, it's not there because we used a different tractor. 3008 maybe. There it is. There's his tractor. So within each trip, you'll see all the states automatically calculated, all the miles in every state traveled in. This is using our computer miles in the background. I will come in here and manually type in a fuel purchase on this trip. However, we do integrate to most of the major fuel card companies. End of the quarter comes around. Top left-hand quarter. Choose the time frame you're working with. Fill out this little worksheet. And depending on what state you live in, well, actually all the states are in here. But if you don't live in Ohio, this form won't look familiar to you. But everything is filled in regardless of the state you live in, and the state form you're using. Everything is filled in and calculated for you. Okay, we're going to go over a few question and answers right now. Carol?
Yep, we've got a few questions that have been submitted, and I'll read them off for you, Jay, and you can respond. First one was, will the Prophecy software work with the new EOBR regulations when they take effect?
It will. When they take effect, it will. We're in the process this year specifically of working with our partners, our mobile communications partners, and making the software work together in that respect. We do work together with several partners now. By the time the mandate comes out, it'll be to that level, long before that, actually.
Right. Okay, another question that came in was, how do I get more information on the Truckers B2B service?
Real simple. You can just go visit our website, truckersb2b.com, and any information and details you need will be there, and you can sign up right there online, and it's free to sign up.
Perfect. Okay, great. And yeah, this is the money question. What is the cost of your Prophecy TMS software?
There's a range in cost. It's hard to give an exact number. The best way to do it is to call us, and we can go over their specific needs. There's a lot of variables that affect the cost, so there's really no way to give an idea unless we know more about the operation and the needs. So definitely give us a call at 800-776-6706, and we're happy to give you a price once you just get a few quick questions answered.
All right. Yeah, I know our customers are all sizes, so I'm sure that comes into play. Let's see, I have one more here. Oh, I have two more here, actually. The next one is, I like the idea of an all-in-one software program, but I don't need all of that right now. Can I add things later?
Absolutely. Our software, by design, is very modular. So, if you're a smaller company and you just need a basic package to start with, but you plan on growing, you can grow into it and you can add things as you need them. You may never need something, but you may down the road as things change. So it's very modular by design. So you definitely do not need everything at once, and you can add as you go, as you see fit.
Right. Okay. Last question. I also have a brokerage side to my business in addition to being carrier. Can I use Prophecy Dispatch this way?
Absolutely. We have many customers that are just brokerage. We have obviously many that are just trucking. We have many that just do both. So you can operate both ways. If you are a broker or you do some brokerage operations, you want to see a brokerage-specific demonstration, we can do that for you live. You can actually run two companies in the system or multiple companies in the system like many people do. So if your brokerage and your trucking are split out into separate companies, into separate accounting companies, we can manage that process automatically as well. So no problem there at all.
Great. Okay, that's all I've got. Oh, the important part, I'm sure this is what everyone has been interested in from the beginning. Just click one more time for me, Jay, on that slide. I think there's some more information. There we go. The iPad mini. Because this is a recorded demonstration, we had to do things a little bit differently this time. So you're watching your recorded version of us. And for that reason, we couldn't draw a name live. So what we've decided to do this time is we're going to have this drawing open until February 16th. And if you'll just email your name after you've watched this to webinars@mile.com, we're going to collect those, and we will hold a drawing for the iPad mini on February 17th. That's a Tuesday. And I will send out an email to everyone and let everyone know the results and who the winner is. And I just wanted to thank everyone for joining us. I know we've tried to keep this succinct and move through things quickly because it's a recorded presentation. You can go back over whatever you'd like. I know there's a lot of content in the slides to read through. So reach out to us if you have questions on anything, or if you'd like a closer look at our driver log software, our dispatch software, whatever your needs are, we're here to help you out with that. And we've got Jay's contact information here on the screen. You can, of course, reach out to him, or if you're already working with an account representative here at Prophecy, there is our general toll-free number and an email address that we will get you right to your representative. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope this was informative for you, and we'll have something new for you next month in our webinar series. Have a great day, everyone.